The Oneway Talon scroll chuck is precisely made from high-end materials to be as tough as it is versatile. I've used Talon chucks for years and I've never had one do anything but work perfectly. The Talon chuck body is adapted to your lathe with a threaded insert that fits in a precise taper. 3 screws are used to secure this insert so you pull it down evenly into the taper. The other 2 holes in the insert are to use 2 of the screws as jacking screws to pull the insert out of the taper. If you've ever tried to release something from a taper, you're going to love this jack screw idea. All 4 of the jaws are moved in or out simultaneously when you turn one key. That specially machined key is inserted through 1 of 2 holes in the body and engages this ring gear inside the truck's body that operates the jaws. The jaws are held in place with 2 screws, which makes them easy to change if you want to use one of the other styles available. You notice that one of the jaws has this pin fitted into it, and that pin engages one of these slots that are machined into the truck's body. The longer slot allows full extension of the jaws. The shorter slot prevents the jaws from sticking too far out from the body, which can be dangerous for new turners. The shape of the Oneway jaws is unique as well. The outer surface is slightly tapered to get a firm grip on recesses. The wave-shaped teeth on the inside are meant to grip tenons. I've used these jaws both ways and I've never had anything slip in them. The Woodworm screw has these sheet metal-like threads that get a firm grip on wood blanks. The shank portion of the screw is designed to fit into the jaws and get locked in place so it can't work its way free or fall out. To install the Talon chuck, you just carefully screw it onto the spindle threads. When it's nearly seated, just give it a little flip with your hand, and that's all the seating you need to do. It'll stay put. The threaded insert has holes for set screws in case you have a reversing lathe. To install the Woodworm screw, I hold the shank in the jaws and carefully tighten the jaws down, wiggling the screw back and forth so I know it's seated firmly in the jaws. When you turn the chuck by hand, the screw looks like it's out of line, but that's really just the threads that are moving around. You need to drill a pilot hole for the wood screw that's 9 millimeters in diameter and about 3/4 of an inch deep. To mount the wooden blank, we place the pilot hole over the end of the wood screw and hold the blank level and turn it onto the screw. You'll quickly see that it takes some effort to turn the block of wood onto those heavy threads on the Woodworm screw. We want to turn the wood down until the face of the wood is flush against the jaws. You'll feel it tighten up when you get the wood down tight against the jaws. Between the wood screw actually gripping the wood and the outer edge of the jaws stabilizing it, this is a very secure way of mounting the wood. Normally I'd bring the tailstock up and support the backside of this wood while we're doing the rounding, and I'd also cut the corners off. But I wanted to do it this way just to show you how strong that Woodworm screw really is. I have to be careful because a good catch could knock the wood out of line on its screw, but we're not supposed to get catches in the first place. If you'd use the live center and the tailstock to support the back of the wood, as I usually do, even a little catch won't knock it out of line. Now I have the sides turned to where I want them. Now we're going to flatten the bottom of the bowl. Here again, I'm still using just a wood screw to hold this piece on. I set these calipers to the size recess that I want to cut, and now I use my pencil to lay that line out on the bottom of the bowl. Then I'll use a 1/4 inch parting tool to cut the recess about 3/8 of an inch deep into the bottom of the bowl. Notice that I'm working the outer edge of the recess with the parting tool at a slight angle. We want just a little bit of a dovetail shape to the recess. The jaws will fit in this recess around that center plug, but I usually take them out. Some guys will actually carve a shape into that plug and leave it in. I've learned to wear my shop gloves when I take these blanks off because this edge can get pretty sharp. Now I can open the jaws up and remove the Woodworm screw. And then I'll close the jaws up a little bit to make sure that they fit into the recess we cut into the back of the blank. If you cut the recess to the right depth, you can set it over the jaws and it'll stop before it actually hits the face of the jaws. Then you just open the jaws up until they get tight inside the recess. And you don't have to get carried away tightening the jaws against the edge of the recess. That little taper in the recess and the design of the jaws will hold it in place. And then you can cut the inside of the bowl using whatever tools you normally use. The design of the Talon jaws and that little angle in the recess will hold the bowl tight. So if you're looking to get a chuck for your lathe, you need to consider the Oneway Talon. This is a very well-made chuck that's easy to use. I've used the Oneway Talon chuck in my shop for years, and I've never had a bit of trouble with it. And we just don't get to say something like that about a lot of the tools and machines we use.